Hello, Basic Brian here. Today, going to talk about beer, some beer basics. I just read a couple pages in this book and I feel like I've kind of absorbed what beer is. They have a nice section that talks about the four things in beer, which are malt, hops, water, and yeast. I'm going to talk about those, and I'm going to review a beer as well. A very basic beer, one of my favorites. Not necessarily my favorite, but one that I've had a lot. Pabst Blue Ribbon, PBR. Hipster beer. Used to be able to get them at live shows for pretty cheap. Not anymore in Milwaukee, at least. Now they have High Life Tall Boys instead, which is a little sad, but it is what it is. But the things of beer are, the first thing is malt, which is made of barley most of the time, and it's a cereal grain. But you have to, there's processes and stuff. I'm still not very familiar with beer production, but you have to soak it and then ferment it, and then you dry it in a kiln. And this influences the flavor, color, and mouthfeel of the beer. And you can also get malt from wheat, oats, rye, or other grains, or sometimes rice or corn to reduce cost, as the book says. The next thing is hops. And I guess it's a female flower of the hop plant, and there's 50 varieties. And this is a mysterious thing. I mean, even barley is kind of a mysterious thing because you don't really think you see barley fields all around, but that's a divergence. But hops add bitterness that balances the sweetness and remains after the fermentation process. And it influences aroma, it acts as a preservative, and it's added it can be added at different processes of the brewing. And some flavors or styles are some varieties of hops are Fuggles, Goldings, Cascade, and Saz. I don't know, but that's a couple of different hops. The next part of beer is water, which is greater than 95% of what a beer is. And it has a strong influence on the flavor of the beer, and it matters where you get the water from. But there's also ways in science to duplicate what a water is from nowadays, I guess you can say, and the book says. And the final ingredient is yeast, which is kind of like they call it a single cell organism. So it's basically like a freaking element on the periodic table in a way, or oxygen or something, but it occurs naturally in the environment. But you can also try to get special yeast if you want, I guess. And it consumes sugar from the malt to produce alcohol and CO2 and fermentation. Ales use top fermenting yeast and work at warm temperatures and rise to the top. And lagers use bottom fermenting yeast, but work at lower temperatures for a clean taste and a golden appearance. And the lambic beers use wild yeast, but there's other things in between. But that's just some beer basics for you from Mark Kelly, Stuart Derrick in this book that I got at a convenience store. Also gonna do a review of Pabst Blue Ribbon, PBR. Let's see. I don't know, it just kind of smells like grains and corn to me or something. Don't know. Got a cool koozie that I got for free last year at a liquor store for buying a thing of PBR, probably 12 pack, maybe 18. kind of a typical beer. I kind of picture grains when I drink a beer like this. More distinct than a light beer. Coming at 4.7% roughly. You can also buy a black design can that has more alcohol on it, or you can get PBR Light as well, which is more light blue, I think. I don't see them everywhere, but those are also available at times. I don't know if they're widely available. They were within a few years, 2 years. But usually I stick with that one. Bought a lot of tall boy pint cans in my day, or the 4-packs, just for something more simple to drink. So it's a mainstay for me usually, even though recently I've been into hams, but I did come back to Pabst Blue Ribbon, PBR. I'm gonna read what they have to say about Pabst Blue Ribbon. Pabst Blue apparently won America's Best at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893. Since then, it has been known as Pabst Blue Ribbon, although the beer never actually won a blue ribbon. In fact, it's unclear whether it won any awards at all that year, with many official accounts claiming that only bronze medals were awarded. What is clear, though, is that this has established itself as America's go-to beers, as one of America's go-to beers. Usually at the top of the list in any beer, in any bar, or attractively priced. PBR has had a surge in sales since it became popular among hipsters, artists, and musicians. Tasty notes, plenty of toffee-like malt, with a very mellow and refreshing aftertaste, to be drunk alongside live music. Hey. It says the brewer is Pabst Brewing Company, but this is probably out of date. I think it's actually Molson Coors. Its style is pale lager, appearance pale yellow. It says the alcohol is 5%, but it's actually 4.7, I believe. And the serving temp is 36 to 41 Fahrenheit, so pretty cold from the fridge. And that's what they have to say about Pabst. And I don't really taste the toffee, but yeah, I guess I mostly taste whatever the grains are. And the kind of clean feeling, I guess they call it. Thank you for watching. All the best, and cheers.